Hello, hello. I'm Yalek, and once again, we are on my mid-level account. Yesterday, I posted a video showing some mid-level heavy Zuka strategies, and I got a great question from Commander who wanted to know about parking spots, and it just so happened that later on in the day, I came across two absolutely perfect bases to demonstrate the difference in parking spots. So let's address that. Now, I'll say in advance, I had advertised this as a 58 and a 59, and it turns out we actually have a 56 and a 58, so that's pretty typical Yalek for you. Oversell and underdeliver, but either way, we're going to make both these guys go boom. Now, first thing is, this one is not the best spot, but we get the base. And I'll show you why this one is better after. The difference in the two bases, you'll notice if you look at the death counts there, 21 Zukas, all of the heavies, that's pretty usual. 21 Zukas dead here, 39 of 39 Zukas dead, and one heavy left. The difference is really not a difference of level, it's a difference of the layout that these guys have. This guy, I said, not enough splash damage in the back. You'll see the difference in these two hits. So, as per usual, the strategy is going to be, I'm going to BART out some of these mines, like barrage some of these mines up here. Shock mines are a problem, the boom mines are a problem, and I don't really want my girls straying into any of the other mines. Now, plan is going to be, as yesterday, heavies up front, Zukas in the back, Everspark somewhere in the middle, and going straight up this way with a stop in the middle at this boom mine. I think I actually flare right to the boom mine to make sure that the heavies get it. Now, parking spot then, we're going to be flaring at the back of the base to here. Didn't get it? There it is. Flaring to about here, which is a little further than I want to go, but there's a reason for that. I'm going to be in the blind spot of this rocket launcher, and that's a happy place for me. I'm going to flare forward to one of these booms. That way the heavies pull a little bit out front of the Zukas. They should form a line like so. And then the Zukas will be ranged behind the heavies, something like so. Now, as you look at this, you can identify some problems. The rocket launcher won't be too much of a problem because we're mostly in its blind spot. Shock launcher is definitely a problem to the right. The front one is not an issue. The two rocket launchers up front are also not an issue because they will be firing directly into my line of heavies. This mortar over here, on the other hand, on the right-hand side, is going to be firing over the top directly at my Zukas. So first order of business is to shock these two items together. And then, let's put those lines back just for one more, something like that. I'm a terrible artist, so apologies in advance. This other mortar on the other side is then going to become another problem because that's going to be firing over the back and clipping my Zukas. So I have three problems in this base. I have the two mortars, and I have the one shock launcher. These two can be shocked together, and this can be shocked later, but you'll notice that the mortars have great coverage back here. This one goes almost to the sniper tower, and this one goes just past the sniper tower. There is just a sliver of space between them there. So that is my parking spot. It is not, however, the best parking spot in the world. There are problems with it, but we're going to make it work. And the other reason I decided to do this with this base will become evident later. So, as before, the drop, getting a little GB on the beach, mid-flare, and smoking. Flare right to that boom mine so that the heavies absolutely do tank it. This one is not an issue because the heavies should get a little bit out front. We're going to throw two smokes back here, and those should have overlapped a little bit, so that wasn't ideal, but it works out. So when the smoke timer gets low, we're going to flare forward, the heavies step out front, and we shock these two towers. Once the boom cannon goes down, the troops start addressing other things in the area. I let out critters but they went the wrong direction on me. They went back towards the GBE rather than forwards. I would have preferred them to go forwards. We just got the shock over onto this mortar, and we've thrown down some ghost heavies. Still having problems over here, though. This mortar is about to go down because of the critters. These guys will go back here and farm up a ton of GBE because there's nothing to stop them. This mortar, this boom mine is eventually going to kill all of my heavies, even my ghost heavies, who are now going to die a second time. Really sorry for them about that. And this mortar is just going to continue to be a problem for my Zookas. However, this attack is not going to look as close as the death counts might seem. At this point we have, well, there's one heavy over here left alive. There was a barrage for the win in there. The health on the HQ was really low when my last Zooka died, but it didn't really matter, because even though the critters didn't go the way I wanted them to, they were still doing something productive back here. There was a lot of GBE for extra artillery and maybe another barrage back there. So this was a bad base design, which is pretty much what I live off of in terms of this game. So the parking spot on that base, to reiterate, was there, but a little problematic. Now, check out the alternative on this one. As I said, not enough splash damage here. You look at the back of this base, and it's going to be almost the exact same strategy. Right, that mid-flare to somewhere in this area. You're going to see heavies on the beach. I think it's still a 3-4 lineup. Everspark and Zookas behind. All of that is the same. Parking spot, we're going to go a little further than I need to be, so somewhere back there, for the same reason as before. When we flare forward, the heavies will step forward because they have a shorter range, whereas the Zookas will hang back with their long range and just target. So the heavies will then form a wall for us, something like that. The Zookas should be over there. Now, as you look at this base, then, you can see sort of where my issues are going to be. This rocket up front is going to be firing into the heavies. This rocket over here should be firing into the heavies. This rocket to the right is going to be an issue because as my girls curl around, it might not be firing at the heavies, and as it turns out, it will end up firing on my girls. So, I believe it's the exact same approach. That cluster of mines up front is a little scary, so we're going to clear some of those. The drop on the beach, we're actually going to hang around a little bit and get a touch of GBE up here, a couple towers, because every little bit counts. I mean, we're not talking about a 10 statue max level 6-4 account here, so getting a little GBE never hurts. I was actually really happy with the smoking on this hit. Those are nice smokes. Let the girls catch up on the mid-flare, flare all the way to the back, past the point where I need to be, specifically so that I can turn around and come forward. 2 smokes back here. It doesn't always have to be 2 smokes. And now, as soon as I get to the back of the base and I know how much GBE I have left available, I start trying to work on this rocket launcher. That was 2 artilleries. And then we turn our attention back up top, flare forward, let the heavies step out to take their damage. And as you can see right there, everything else is fine, but that rocket is definitely getting some of my girls. The critters are helping. I'm still trying to work on that rocket. I thought that artillery might get it down and did not. The critters are still out there, and at this point the rocket turns to face me again. I've got 1 heavy left. Some of my girls are going to die, and I tried to distract with some ghost troops. It ended up not mattering because the HQ went down quickly enough, but in this case, as you can see, a lot of extra troops left remaining, and the difference is that there isn't the splash damage back here, the 2 mortars, for example, that you saw in the first attack. So I had a whole lot more troops left alive and a whole lot more damage left to do. Those critters would have bought me a little bit of time, and my girls could have still been working on the core if they had needed to. It was not needed. But anyway, so that is the difference between 2 parking spots. One that is close to ideal, and then one that is really, really not. And they're both successful, but the difference in troop losses is pretty substantial there. Anyway, so I hope that helps a little bit. If it does, if you found this informative, or funny, or if you just like the sound of my voice, give me a like, drop a comment, say hi. Also, if you have any more feedback or any other requests, I would love to address that. Anyway, I'm Yalek, and I'm out. Hope you have a great day.